Yep, what's poppin'? So yeah, now what we're about to do is we're about to spin the block. As I said before in the past, and we're just gonna deal with the facts. But now we're gonna have a view into why not falling for identity politics is so important. Just because you share a skin tone with a people or they belong to heavily melanated groups does not mean that you are from the same group. So when people tell you who they are and how they feel about you, you listen to them and stop trying to align with them or fold them into your flock. Just because they created something that doesn't exist, a construct called POCs, and put us all into this one basket does not mean we are all the same. And this is why what's happening is happening now, because we're being held responsible for the people that we invited to the cookout, right? You're responsible for your guest at the house party. Here? All right. Now, again, I've said it before and I'll say it again. We have to start dealing with the facts. No matter how uncomfortable those facts may be, and no matter how comfortable hearing the facts and the truth may make us feel, the facts are the facts, and without those we have no truth, and without no truth and transparency there's no accountability. But we have to start doing what's best for our communities, because the people who continue to tell us that we don't know who our fathers are and that we're dirty and that they don't like us, now that there's been a shift, in their reality, now everything is flat black and we're supposed to be one community. But, we're being looked at for these actions as well.
Where are the children at? Do you know where the children are at? Where are the children at in these daycare centers?
I don't care.
I don't care.
A Minnesota daycare owner featured in a viral YouTube investigation has now admitted to federal fraud charges in a major courtroom twist.
Good speaker, but I'll try my best.
Got it.
My name is Deco Noor. I'm a parent who receives federal funding for childcare for my kiddo. Over 20,000 kids will lose access to childcare programs. And that, that thousands of children rely on childcare, and thousands of parents rely on childcare. Therefore, if childcare will, oh my God. I'm currently a medical student. I rely on childcare. I work. If childcare is cut, I'm unable to work or go to school. I understand fraud is bad.
Most of the people that we meet, especially African Americans, they don't even know their fathers.
What's your background? You American? Dirty black American?
Wait, what?
Huh?
She just said that?
I did. A dirty black American. I sure did. Because that's what y'all are.
I had a conversation with my boy literally right before I got here. And then when I got on my phone with my boy, he was like, nah, think about it, Rich. There's plenty of Haitians who say, vieux salope. In Creole, that means like dirty or bad, black American.
The guilty plea has reignited national attention on one of the largest COVID-era fraud scandals involving taxpayer-funded child nutrition programs. Federal prosecutors say Fahima Mahamud, CEO of Future Leaders, Early Learning in Minneapolis, pleaded guilty to wire fraud. She also admitted guilt to conspiracy to defraud the United States as part of a plea agreement filed in federal court. The case gained widespread attention after YouTuber Nick Shirley released a viral video questioning the apparent inactivity of daycare centers. His investigation alleged that several taxpayer-funded daycare facilities appeared to be operating only on paper, rather than serving children.
Now, I'm not gonna lie. A few years back, I was one of those people that you would hear or see certain things, and without fully looking into things, You're like, well, wait a minute. Especially when it was framed a certain way. Well, let's just say the last 6 years has taught me how to start looking at things from a completely different perspective and different lens. And actually doing my own due diligence and listening to people's words as well as watching their actions. That being said, sometimes you may have to look at things that you traditionally wouldn't look at to get a different lens and perspective, and then watch everything as it plays out in its whole entirety, because now we see that everything that they told us, they were lying about. But if you go back, your words will always betray you. They told us the whole time what they were doing. Some of us just didn't want to believe it. And I'm saying all that to say this. To my people, the Black Americans, those of you who still feel like because the NAACP tells you that you have to go out and put your vessel, your freedom, and your sovereignty on the line for illegal aliens, this is not our fight. We are not immigrants. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with the immigrant population or legal immigration at all. But for the illegals that everyone is trying to trick us into protecting and tell us that we are xenophobic or racist or anything else, don't let them manipulate you and use your intergenerational trauma as they're literally, this is cultural erasure, because the same people that they're telling you to fight for are claiming they built this country when it was our ancestors. I mean, let's be honest here. The people that are screaming that they built this country have only been here for 20 years. And it's showing evidently because now they're upset that they're losing TPS. And they're not mad at why they're losing TPS, because none of them have ever asked the question, what got us to this point that we're now losing TPS? And again, I know it's not all of them, but when you look at it from a cultural perspective, they themselves tell you, yes, in our culture, we say bad or dirty Black Americans. I've said it before and I'll say it again. No matter how you may feel about us, no matter what you may think how things function in this country, it's because you look at us as second-class citizens, as Black immigrants. We're still Americans.
And foundational Black American, let me help you understand something. Let me show you something that you just need to understand. Okay?
You don't get with other visible minorities because they are foundational people. They've been here for so long. If they're not American, then what are they? Andrew Anglin has articles about this from the Daily Stormer, white supremacists. He says, if they aren't American, then what are they? Where can we deport them to? Right? So he talks about ethno-states and breaking up in America. But he doesn't hold that same level of, I guess, even compassion or proximity to Indians or Arabs or Chinese people because they...
Now, again, remember when I told you all earlier that this is a Black and white country? And when I say Black and white, I mean foundational Black American or heritage white American. And that's white folks that can trace their heritage back for generations. They know the difference and we know the difference. Okay? Now, we as Black Americans say, hey, yeah, come on in, let's be Black together. And you all have repeatedly said, oh, no, we're not Black like you. And that was a mistake. And so once the white folks said, well, you know, the Black Americans don't deal with these people like that, they said, well, let's get rid of them. They don't even have the stamp of approval of Black Americans. So what you've learned is, you know, that thing that they said Black Americans have no power. You don't think all this land we own and all these lawyers we have and all these law schools and all this heritage and politicians and all our military, I think the military is 13% Black. You don't think that we have power and influence? We don't have to be a large minority, but we are entirely one of the greatest influences on the American ethos and the American public and how it operates. And so you made a mistake. You made a mistake by undervaluing and playing as if you didn't understand who has the major influence in this country. But I'm gonna let this gentleman finish speaking.
They aren't foundational. They're not part of the nation. When I go into a service station, I get the coffee and there's an Indian or a Chinese guy or an Arab behind the counter, I intuitively just feel more American than them, even though I'm Australian. It's because I'm part of the Anglosphere. You know, I'm closer.
He said, I'm Australian and I feel more American than an Indian. You understand what I'm saying? Again, you all don't have to believe me. I came from the premise that this is a Black and white country. And what they're telling you is that if you are a white person, this is part of the Anglosphere. He means Britain, Ireland, Scotland. He's talking about Poland, Australia, Germany. This is what he's saying. He said, but with Black Americans, no, they got me beat because they were foundational in this country. Now, I know you all don't like when I say stuff like that. It sounded controversial. What does he mean this is a Black American country? What about the Latinos? What about the Native Americans? You're right. The territory that this country was founded on, it was occupied by those people. But as far as these United States and the Constitution, the contract that binds these states together, it is an Anglosphere. That's what the gentleman's saying. I'm not saying it. And in that are foundational Black Americans. So this is the philosophy that you're dealing with. And this is why you're getting treated like you're getting treated. Don't be angry with me. I'm just pointing it out. I'm just here answering questions. Let's keep listening.
To an American than I am to an Indian or a Chinese guy. But I wouldn't have that same level of, I guess, foreign alien when I saw a Black American, because I know that Black American's more American than me. And, you know, third world refugees and immigrants, they know this. And that's why they punch down so heavy. Well, they think they're punching down, but they're not really, because Black Americans are godfathered into Americanness the same way that they can only hope to be. But it's not going to happen. And so...
And we are American citizens. And that little document, the Constitution, yeah, the amendments that y'all use as loopholes to get citizenship here by birth were written for us. And those principles still have to be standard on by law, because that document is a contract, a covenant. But yeah, it is what it is. Like I said, I'm no longer going to be allowing myself to be emotionally charged or motivated by these topics, because it's become a waste of energy. And what I'm realizing is nobody's actually listening to hear what people are saying. Everybody's just listening to rebut. And it turns into this disrespectful back and forth of, oh, you ain't this and you ain't that and blah, blah, blah. And everybody's mad at everybody. And listen, I get it. I understand it. Because when I hear certain things, it does trigger me. But what I'm realizing is all the people that are saying we don't know who we are and that we're dirty and we're dumb and everything else and have no culture, when they come here and they're out in the public, they walk, speak, act, and talk like what they think represents us so that they can blend in, but then talk shit about us the first chance they get. Wild work. Wild work. But like I say, it is what it is. But again, to my people, if you're a Black American, this is not our issue nor our fight. And our tax dollars are being wasted on it. And once you start following the money of all of these 501c nonprofit organizations that are actually paying to convince you to support these things that do not benefit you, all that money traces back to one place. And start with the Southern Poverty Law Center, and then work your way to the NAACP, and then just go down each one from there. Even the nonprofits that are supposed to be, what do they call it? Real estate developers, like FIPS. I did a whole video on FIPS, which I'm going to double back on. But just let me let you know that the rezoning that they're doing in the Bronx now, they're not doing it for New York City residents. They are importing people to come in and fill up these apartments in our neighborhoods. Yeah, something to think about. And ask yourself, well, if they just imported 20 plus million over the last administration, the people that they're about to bring in from the Midwest to fill up all these new apartments that they're building in New York City that allegedly has a housing crisis, well, where are they coming from? And not just that, who are they? I mean, we still have sanctuary status after all. But yeah, I'll chew on that. And hey, if anything I said makes sense or it doesn't, let me know in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. Y'all be easy.